bevs turned out. Not bad. So what we're trying to do here is this truck has just, the thing of it is it's a crew cab long box. It just looks good with a 40-inch tire on it. I mean, the 37s look good. It performed really good. I put some 40s on it, a friend of mine had, just to try the truck out and see what it felt like. We're gonna find out. Some big mother. It feels really good with 40s on it. The only problem is I don't have enough clearance for a 40 because these fender wells on these old Dodges are just so sharp. The axle really needs to be pushed forward about an inch and a half, which I'm gonna fix all that. So right now what we're doing is getting rid of the old upper spring bucket. So the spring sits in here, and then you can see the spring goes in between here. The shock runs down through the middle. So we're cutting that out of there. And then we're gonna clean this off, and then we're gonna probably cut some of this out here, the inner fender. We're gonna put probably an 1.5 or 1.75 tube DOM up in here, and we're gonna make a shock hoop up in here so we can run a bigger shock, longer travel, more stroke, more flexibility, nicer ride. I mean, I'm not really gonna flog this thing in the desert hard, but if I wanna go take it off-road and I wanna climb some stuff, I don't want them 40-inch tires to eat the inner fenders out. So that's the biggest thing, is up travel and what we have for down travel and how it's all gonna come together when we put this all in there. We are gonna put a long arm kit on it. So on the long arm kit, my buddy Kevin from Fab Works is gonna come down here, and he's gonna bring us his long arm kit for this thing. We're gonna see if we can get a little bit more travel, a little longer arm on it, which makes it ride a lot better, especially if you're going down some washboard road. I mean, it'll feel pretty good. I'm not really looking to off-road this truck that much, but if I want to off-road it or I want to go climb something, I can go do it. I want this thing to be usable. So with a 40-inch tire, like I said, there's going to be a lot of changes that need to be made. With a 37, it was great. I could leave it alone and not care. But because the truck is so big and so long, and we're going to SEMA with it this year, and I want it to be just big. I want it to look big. I'm trying to get a new rim. I got some tires coming. We got the big overhead camper, and then I just want it to, really what I'm trying to do is, everybody's got on this thing of this off the grid with their Toyota truck with the little snorkel out of the hood and their little camper on the back. And it's like, you're really not off the grid. Like your car's fuel injected, it has a computer in it. It runs from the world. Like this don't. This thing can run on French fry oil from McDonald's or transmission fluid. I don't even need a starter. I don't need a battery. It's mechanical. You push it down a hill, you pump the clutch, and it runs, okay? Nothing in my camper is gonna have anything that has to do with a Bluetooth or a way that you could be tracked. So technically, if you wanna live off the grid, all these guys are spending all this money buying all these campers and shit for their Jeeps and their stuff, and really at the end of the day, like, we know where you're at. They know where you're at. They can find you, Even off the grid, even if you are off the grid, let's say, they can still find you. But, at the end of the day, when anything fails on your late model vehicle, this won't. This is mechanical. It will always run. As long as you keep oil in it and fuel in it, it'll run. But if my battery dies, if I don't have a computer, so that won't fail. But even if my battery dies, I can still make this thing run. You can still push it down a hill and make it run with the manual transmission. So realistically, I'm just kind of like doing my own off the grid style truck that will be actually real at the end of the day. Like, you can really be off the grid if you want. Like, you can't be tracked. And you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. It's just kind of making fun of it a little bit, I guess. Everybody spends hundreds and thousands of dollars on gas tanks and racks and tents and, you know, all these toolboxes, and you take the truck apart and you can find another compartment. Like, there's all this stuff, you know. And you know, when my grandpa used to take me camping, it was an old camper special, just like this, with a topper on the back, with a mattress in that sucker, with a 350 Chevy, or a 318, or a, you know, 351. Like, there was no computer. It was all mechanical fuel pumps. Everything ran, and it ran. There was no computers. So that's what I'm doing. I want to stay. The further the world goes forward, I'm going back in time. I like that because I know it's going to work. It may not get me there quicker than you, but I'm going to make it. You know what I mean? And my hose just blew up. New problem. Just out of nowhere, just blew up. Yeah, everything's WelderUp, so much fun. It's like just, I'm like the janitor. All I do is go around here fixing shit all day long. That's it, just fix shit. And then I gotta fix shit to actually fix the shit I'm working on. Anyway, let me go fix my hose. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the factory spot where the shock's gonna go. FOA is the company that I'm using for my shocks. JD over there is a great guy. We've done a lot of business together. Anytime I need something, he takes care of me, and he does a good job. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use his shock, and we're gonna run it in here. We're gonna put our coil here. The coil's gonna come up, and we're gonna make a big hoop in here. It is probably gonna come up into here. Probably gonna have to cut this out. We're gonna come off here. Probably gonna have to move this charge pipe out of the way, and probably come, I'm thinking, up into here like this. So this is probably gonna have to be moved. Then we're gonna come into here, and then we'll tie it back down into here. And that's gonna be our hoop where our top part of our shock's gonna mount to. So it's probably gonna be like right here, and then go down. So it's gonna be a lot, you know, it's gonna be a lot in there, but it's gonna give me so much more travel, and it's gonna be more of a comfortable ride. I had a pretty decent setup in here, but with what we're going with now, this thing ought to be really good. It ought to run, or it ought to feel good going down the road. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Kevin with Fab Works. What we're doing here is putting my radius arm conversion on Steve's Power Wagon truck, and what we're starting with is cutting the stock Dodge coil buckets off that used to live here, and then the shock used to dive in the middle of it, so we cut that off, and we're going to plate and clean this in, and then we're going to have a coilover and a bypass living here. We just about got ready to put it back under the truck. So what we have is a tube layout for a coilover and bypass shock tower. So we're gonna do a rough fit up on this and then make sure everything cycles cleanly. And we're gonna pull this out of the truck, fully weld it, and then reapply it onto the frame rail and finish weld it onto the frame. So today, while we were welding the coilover and bypass towers, I thought it would be kind of fun to challenge Steve to see who could weld them out nicer.
You weld side, I'll weld side. Is that how we're doing it, or what?
Is this mine?
So he was talking about his welding class when we were eating lunch and just saying how he was running it and everything. So it only seemed fitting to kind of put his money where his mouth is and put it to the test.
I'm gonna say something, but it's hard to say. It's about the same.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's a little scriggly. It's the backside.
Let me see.
Oh, shit. Get out of here with the cam. What are you doing with that?
Without a doubt, I won. Everyone in the shop agrees I'm a better welder than Steve Darnell. I am Kevin Furco, owner of Fab Works. We are based out of the Bay Area in Santa Clara, California. I started welding projects and some of these products in my parents' garage off of the dryer outlet. Just as things started to grow, I was able to move into a small industrial shop and kind of really step up the assembly and everything as the products continue to grow. The business officially started while I was still employed full-time, and I rented a small shop space, and I was working there every single day after hours, pretty late nights, 7 days a week. As the business that I started continued to grow, I had to make the decision of, did I want to jump into that full-time? And the opportunity arose, and I was able to make that transition into a full-time business owner and just really put my full effort into the custom fabrication and product. They were first designed as kind of a strictly off-road product, and that's really all I chose to market towards in the beginning. As popularity has grown, I'm selling to a lot more people that are gaining the benefits of a good handling truck on the streets while towing or day-to-day driving.